So you could take this class with you and do it at the gym or at home whenever you have time. A couple suggested props would be a strap, especially for those of you that are really tight in the hamstrings, and a block for those of you that are tight through the hips. We're gonna actually start on our backs in Shavasana, my favorite place to begin. So we'll just start here, finding a couple nice, slow, deep breaths. Take a moment to close your eyes and settle in. Allowing a feeling of relaxation to wash over your body. And if you are doing this class post-workout, let me just say how happy I am that you are doing it and how proud I am that you are taking the time to recognize the importance of your yoga practice. And feel free to stay here in Shavasana a little bit longer if you want. But once you're ready to move into the stretches, grab your strap, if you're using it, and extend your right leg towards the ceiling. Take the strap around the arch of the foot and pull the right leg in towards you. Now, you may not be pulling your leg in as close as I am, and that's totally okay. That's why we have the strap. You can keep your right leg out as far as you need to, or draw it in as close as you want to. If this is tugging too much on your left hip flexor, I want you to bend your left knee and plant the foot. This is all about the right hamstring here. And then since we do have use of the strap, try and take out a bend in any bend that you have in your knee and straighten the leg. So this strap here is empowering us to have good form. For our next 3 breaths, see if you can draw the leg in a little bit closer. And then start to move your right leg out to the side, getting into the groins. Now you may need to loosen up your grip on the strap and let the leg fall away from the body a little bit more or closer down toward your left leg. Find your ideal stretch and use your breath to relax the body. As you inhale, come back to center with your right leg. Switch the grip of the strap and take your right leg across the body. So this is gonna move into your IT band. If you're super tight, you might just be moving a couple degrees over to the left. If you've got a little more wiggle room in your body, take the leg as far over as you can. Remember, the breath is what's gonna sustain the pose for you. So if your breath is short and shallow, your body's gonna think, oh my gosh, I have to get out of this situation. Steady the breath and steady the body. As you inhale, come back to center. Bend your left knee and plant your left foot. Set the strap aside and cross your right ankle over the left thigh. We're moving into a figure 4 stretch. So draw your left thigh in towards the body and interlace the fingers behind the left hamstring. Use your right elbow to open the right knee wide. You could even take your right hand to your right knee and help find that opening, at least that sensation. And then return your hand back to meet the left. Sometimes I like to rock side to side here, just to loosen up the lower back a little bit as well. And we're gonna find another twist, but this twist is actually focusing on the IT band again. So keep your legs exactly as they are. Don't change a thing. Take your arms out to a T or a goalpost. So moving your legs as a unit, let them fall over to the left. Your right foot is going to plant on the ground, and your right knee is gonna point towards the ceiling. Your left outer shin is resting on the ground, and you're pulling your left knee up into your right outer ankle. So as the knee moves up, as the left knee moves up, the right knee presses away from the body. You're gonna feel a huge stretch in the outside of your right leg into the glute. I like to take my left hand and place it on top of my right foot to anchor it in place. Now, keeping the figure 4 one more time. Inhale, come back to center. Plant your left foot on the ground and take your right knee towards your right armpit, grabbing onto the outer edge of the right foot. Now extend your left leg and we're gonna come into this upside down lunge or a half happy baby. If the foot seems really far away, you've got really tight hips and hamstrings, just hold on to the back of the knee. And there's actually a lot of action going on here. So I really want you to pull down on this foot as the foot presses to the ceiling. You'll feel the resistance in the hip, and that's going to create more space for the stretch. Now, reach the right leg long. Take your arms overhead. Find a full body stretch and notice the difference between the left and right hip. Let's work to even that out. So grab your strap again and then take the strap around the left foot. Find that hamstring stretch here. Pull the leg in towards you, keep it straight and strong, and modify by bending your right knee, planting the right foot. Send the breath wherever you feel the tightness. And then switching the grip of the strap. Hold on with your left hand as you open your left leg out to the left. Adjusting as needed. You can make that strap really long, or you can choke up on it if you feel really flexible this afternoon, or whenever you're doing this. Place your right hand on your right hip, reminding you to stay rooted down. And if you can't root down, plant the foot. And one last stretch here with our strap. Inhale back to center. Switch the grip again and take the left leg across the body as we move into a little bit of a twist and a big IT band stretch. So if you don't have a strap handy, you could also use a gym towel or a tie or a scarf. Use what you've got. Most importantly, use your breath. And inhale, come back to center. Bend your right knee, plant the right foot, set the strap aside, find your figure 4 stretch here. Left ankle crosses over the right thigh. Draw the right thigh in towards you, and then interlace the fingers behind the right hamstring. Guiding the left knee open with the left elbow, or pressing the knee away with the hand. If you're doing that, hold on to your left foot to keep the ankle firm and strong. Low back is pressing down. If you're really tight and feel that low back curling up, try and soften that low back down. Maybe make some space. Don't feel pressured to hook the hands, but do take the option of holding hand to foot. Now coming into that IT band stretching twist. Keep your legs as they are. Don't change a thing. Arms come out to a T or a goalpost. With your both knees bent 90 degrees, lower the legs over to the right. Plant the left foot. Let the right outer shin rest on the ground. Anchor the left foot with the right hand and try opening the left knee farther away from the body. As you're doing that, draw the right knee up into the left ankle. Feeling length through the left side, into the waistline, and a big stretch in the IT band. Yowza. With your next inhale breath, unwind, come back to center, and open up for that half happy baby. Extend the right leg long. Grab the outer edge of the left foot with the hand. You could also hold on to ankle or hamstring and pull down. As your hand is pulling down, the foot is pressing up. Keep the right hip anchored. Bend the knee if you need to. Gently release the left foot. Take your arms overhead. Find a full body stretch as you reach nice and long. And then curl up into a ball and rock up to a tabletop position. So come in a tabletop, all fours, stacking the shoulders above the wrist and the hips above the knees. Begin by drawing the right knee up in line with the right hip. We're going to make some circles here. Open the right knee out to the side, bring the knee up towards the elbow, circle in and then back. So we're making counterclockwise circles to begin. The bigger, the better. We're thinking range of motion here. Take one more in this direction. And then switch clockwise, in, out, and around. In, out, and around. So the mobility is extremely important. Like if you're thinking about your squats, how are you going to keep getting your squats down nice and low? You got to have that mobility in your hips. Let's take two more. And as you finish that circle, draw your right knee towards the right wrist. Shimmy your left leg, your left foot back behind you, preparing for pigeon pose. So the hips are level and steady. We don't want to roll all the way to the right side. Rather, we want to be balanced and centered. Once your hips are balanced and centered, see if you can lower yourself down. This is where a block might come in handy, a block or a pillow. Lower the forearms down to that block or all the way down to the ground, letting your head just relax and hang heavy. If pigeon pose bothers your knee, this right knee, you could do this on your back like we did in the very beginning of class, finding that figure 4 stretch. If you're using a block, go ahead and set it aside. Plant your hand, shoulder width distance, curl the left toes under, and let's step back in a downward facing dog. Releasing the stretch, maybe bending the knees. You could lift the leg if you want. Whatever's gonna help you get some circulation and movement back into the right hip. Once you feel like you've got some more space there, everything is moving around, release back down to all fours, finding tabletop, where we'll do those hip circles again. So lift the left knee in line with the left hip, curling the heel in as close to the glute as you can. Draw the knee into the chest, out and around, in, out, and around. Nice, big circles. Remembering that your hip is a ball and socket joint, and it should be able to move in this fashion. So if you're encountering any resistance, just keep working on it. Switch directions. Moving clockwise now. Two more. Maybe feeling a little fatigue in your glutes. And then as you finish that circle, work your way into pigeon. Take your left knee to the left wrist. Wiggle the right toes back behind you. Your foot is flat. The ankle's not sickling out or in, but ankle's in line with the knee. Press the knees down, hug the hips in, make sure you're balanced and level, and then start to walk yourself down either to your mat or your forearms on a block. And let the upper body relax. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And if your forearms are on a block, go ahead and set the block aside. Plant your hands and step back into downward facing dog again. So adding any movement that feels good into your downward dog. Getting a little stretch in the calves now and the Achilles tendons. And settle into this space. Tone the arms, draw the belly in. With an inhale breath, reach your right leg high. As you exhale, bend the knee and open up through the hip. Feel a stretch through the quad. Inhale, come back to center, straight leg and squared hips. And as you exhale, find a wide lunge. Right foot outside of the right hand, back leg strong behind you. Now pause for an inhale breath, and as you exhale, straighten the legs, pull the hips back. Get back into that hamstring. Inhale to wide lunge. Exhale, hamstring stretch. One more time. Inhale into the lunge. Exhale to the hamstring stretch. Inhale for your lunge. Set the left knee down. So here's another place where you might want to use your block. Option A is going to be to stay here, because this is pretty intense. Option B, start to lower down, forearms on a block or the ground. Again, let the head and the neck relax. And then gently come back to your hands, set the block aside, curl the left toes under and step back in a downward facing dog. And just feel the difference. That right hip is nice and open. The left hip is ready to feel the same way. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, bend the knee, open through the hip. Try and stack your left hip on your right. Think about a dog at a fire hydrant. That's the kind of lift that you're going for. Now inhale back to straight leg, level off hips. Exhale, wide lunge. Left foot goes outside of the left hand. Find that movement. Inhale, sink to the stretch. Exhale, hips come back, head hangs heavy. 2 more. Inhale to the lunge. Exhale, draw the hips back. Last one. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, draw the hips back. Inhale, meet me in a lunge. And then set your back knee down. Go ahead. Start to lower down to forearms, either forearms on your mat or forearms on your block. And if you're really tight, see if you can just bend the elbows. If not, don't worry about it. And just remember, if you are feeling tight, that you really need this. Few more breaths here. Remembering that as we stretch, we're helping to reduce our risk of injury, helping our bodies to recover, so we can get back at it sooner rather than later. Go ahead and set that block aside, plant your hands. Let's come back into downward facing dog again. Tilt the hips towards the ceiling and press the chest towards the thighs. As you inhale, bend the knees, look forward between the hands. And on an exhale breath, walk your feet to the top of your space. Once you get there, take a halfway lift. Lengthen the chest away from the thighs. And then exhale into a forward fold. Have a gracious bend in the knees here, however much you need, so that you can relax into this stretch. Then I want you to wrap up your forearms and just hang like a rag doll. Maybe rock side to side, front to back. Feel a release through the back of the legs. Two more breaths. And then pause in the middle. Release your fingertips towards the ground and find that halfway lift again. What I'd like you to do here is take your feet shoulder width distance apart and turn the toes out slightly. We're going to find a little movement in the hips. As you inhale, bend the knees, pull the hips back, the chest pulls forward. On an exhale breath, straighten the legs and twist the right arm up. Inhale, bend the knees, pull the hips back. Exhale, straighten the legs, twist to the left. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, twist right. Last one. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, bend the knees. Sit back. Turn your toes out a little bit more and then drop your hips in between your heels. So this is called frog pose. Some people call it a paleo squat. You do a lot in CrossFit. If you have really tight hips and you can't sit down low like this, a couple of options. You could sit on a block, so that way you don't have the pressure of holding yourself up, and you can really focus on your hands, opening your knees out wide. If the issue is ankle mobility, roll up a mat or a blanket and place it underneath your heels, so your heels get a little bit of a lift, and your ankles aren't quite so strained. Wherever you are, let's take 5 more breaths here. 5 more, because we probably all need this. Try taking you round out of the upper back, okay? Shoulders on the back, chest is lifted. Last 3 breaths. Weight moves to the outer edges of the feet, arches are lifting. And then gently release. Find a wide-legged forward fold. Turn the toes forward. Let the head hang heavy. Plant your hands and step back into downward facing dog again. So one last stretch here. From your downward facing dog, inhale, reach the right leg up. As you exhale, great big step through to lunge. Plant your right foot at the top of the mat. Start to soften the hips here. Now lower your left knee down to the ground. Take the top of the foot to the mat and begin to walk your hands up the right thigh. Option is to stay here. We're focusing on our left hip flexor now. You can stay here or add more of a quadricep stretch by bending the left knee and then grabbing the left foot with the hands. This is a very intense stretch. So if you're not quite there yet, don't worry about it. You're going to get the same benefit from being here. Just go where you can and breathe into the sensations. Gently release your back foot if you've got it. Curl the toes under this time and draw your hips towards the back heel, flexing this front foot, diving towards your right leg. So shifting from the left quadricep to our right hamstring, softening, stretching, releasing. Inhale, come forward into your lunge, pop the back knee up, and exhale, downward dog. Step it back. With an inhale breath, float the left leg high. Exhale, step through for lunge. Plant the left foot. Release your right knee down. Start to walk your hands up the left thigh this time, and take your right foot flat. Start to move forward and down. If you need to pad your knee with another mat or a blanket, take the time to do so you can be comfortable in the stretch. And then if you need a little bit more, start to bend your right knee and grab the right foot with the hand. Tuck the hips underneath the body. So we don't want the tailbone to reach to the back wall. We want the tailbone to be heavy and anchored down. And if you've got your back foot, go ahead and set it down. Curl the toes under and pull the hips towards the back heel, flexing your left toes. Diving forward. And be really mindful of these pinky toes. If they roll forward, you're gonna miss out on the stretch to the outer edge of the calf. So keep pulling the toes back, the pinky toes back, feeling that stretch everywhere you should. Inhale, come forward, back to the lunge. Pop your back knee up and let's step back. Downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath in your downward facing dog. And on your exhale, walk through to a seated position in the middle of your mat. Great. So once you are seated, extend your legs out in front of you. Take your arms forward and just roll back vertebrae by vertebrae. As you float back, reach the arms overhead, and we'll end with a nice little twist here. Hug the right knee into the body, interlacing the fingers on top of the right shin, and pull down on the shin so you feel this compression through your hip joint. In fact, pulling, compress, squeeze in as tight as you can for 3, for 2, for 1, and then release that tension. Do it again. Pull in tight, squeeze as much as you can for 3, for 2, for 1. Release one last time. Squeeze in tight. As you're squeezing in with the hands, press the shin into the hands for 3, for 2, for 1. Release that contraction. Come into a twist. With your left hand, guide the right knee across the body. Right shoulder stays anchored down. And then inhale back to center. Switch sides. Right leg goes long. Left knee comes in. Squeeze it in tight and move outside of the rib cage so you've got some room to find those compressions. And then pull in. Hands pull down on the shin. Shins push into the hands. Squeeze it for 3, for 2, and 1. Let up on that resistance. Then bring it back in. Squeeze in tight. Press the shin into the hands for 3. Even tighter for 2, for 1. Gently release one more time. Squeeze it, pull down. Press that knee into the hands for 3, tighter, tighter, 2, and 1. Release the compression, and then twist. And as you're twisting here, think about the left hip lengthening away from the left armpit. With an inhale breath, come back to center. As you exhale, draw the right knee in to meet the left, and let's open for happy baby pose. Soles of the feet to the ceiling. Grab either the inner edges of the feet or the outer edges of the feet. Super tight, friends. Grab the hamstrings, because I want your low back to press down rather than you being all curled and crunched up. So grab wherever you can that allows the low back to press down. Make an imprint of your spine on the mat. You can stay static in the middle or rock side to side. And if you take a moment to look at the setup of the pose, you're basically upside down in that frog squat or in a regular squat. So allow yourself to work on that mobility here in a more passive situation. And if you're rocking side to side, pause in the middle. Release your feet or whatever you're holding on to. Wrap the arms around the legs, bring the forehead to the knees, squeeze, and then release all the way down into our final pose, Shavasana. Let your feet flop open, the arms rest out to the sides. Allow your eyes to gently close as you take a few very well-deserved moments here in stillness. Begin to bring an awareness back into your breath. And back into the body. With your next inhale, find one more full body stretch. Sweep the arms overhead, reach long from front to back. And roll to your right side. Find a supported fetal position for just a moment. Hold the head in the arms. Let your body be heavy. And gently pressing down through your left hand, push yourself up to a seated position. Once you arrive, bring your hands to heart center. Sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes one last time. If your body could say anything right now, it would say thank you for taking the time to stretch me out after your workout. So I know sometimes we don't think we have the time to stretch out after our workouts, but everything counts. Every little bit helps. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.